Good morning and welcome to When Pigs Fly. Patty, Renee, and Tracy here. And today we have an amazing guest, and be prepared to laugh. She's funny, she's got wisdom. So we have Dana Sardano as our special guest today. She is an artist, an author, and a phenom. And we are going to leave it to Dana to kind of tell her story. It's so pertinent to so many of us, and she's a true example of like you dig into your heart and follow your passion. And you can see behind her some of her beautiful artwork, and that's the only teaser I'm going to give you guys. So, Dana, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Tracy, thank you for inviting me.
Love having you here. Hey, Dana, before you dive in, I want to do a little homage to Dana. Dana, I have known, and it doesn't matter because once you know Dana, you have known Dana. So Dana, timeless. She is all of that. So Dana, as Patty said, she's an author, she's an artist, she's a teacher, she is a healer in the best sense. And one of the many things that I love about Dana is she is so giving and so giving of her heart, so giving of herself. So I just want to do a little showing of some of the amazing creations and
that's cool.
expressions of Dana. And I'm going to throw in a little fun twist because Dana is all kinds of fun. And I'm going to leave it there. And then I know for sure Dana and any of her fans, subscribers is probably going to know where the hidden joke is. So to start, I'm going to say again, Dana is amazing. And
They were things like that.
Dana, keep giving and giving. So I'm going to give you a little thing. And oh my God, there's so much. There's so much. Wait. Here you go. Can't wait to see. First,
oh my God.
I have Dana as an author. So not only books that Dana has written, but books that two fabulous, amazing girls that I know, love, brilliant authors, must reads, all from Phenom Publishing. Okay, Dana. Dana is an artist. Oh my God. Wait. Art, amazing. Look at the colors. Look at the textures. Is she not phenomenal, people? Yes. Okay. And then hold on. There's more. We have mini cards. Check this out. Gorgeous, beautiful, amazing. We have bigger cards. Soul Travelers, beautiful art on one side, and on the other, amazing channeled messages from our friend Anne-Marie. And hold on. There's more. You can adorn yourself. Dana's art. You can wear it. Look at this gorgeousness. Please, come on, everyone, please. And then we are going to come back to this one, but you can send Dana's beautiful message in the mail. Little side note. Come on, guys. When pigs fly. Seriously. Dana's already in our tribe. Always has been. And then the piece de resistance. Dana does commissioned artwork that she channels exclusively for you.
Oh my goodness, Tracy. I had not realized how much of my stuff is in your possession.
Right? Okay.
Oh my God.
Dana is always fun. She always has the coolest t-shirts on with hidden messages. So for Dana, it always comes with love, but a little hidden message.
Oh, I love it. And we got to see your boobs. Yay. Oh, Tracy, that was so cool. That was so cool.
Do you remember your episode, The Beaver Canada? Yes. Girl, that was my little homage to, and you're so much better at it. Wait. Oh my God, it keeps coming. But
oh my God.
So you're the Starbles. Go back to Commando with Dana and Angela when she presents all the gifts from, I forget the Canadian girl's name.
Oh, her name was Debbie. She was from Canada, and she sent me, again, I joked that it was fan mail, but she sent me this box of stuff from Canada just as a thank you, because the stuff that I do had been helpful to her. And I was just pulling stuff out, and there was this little stuffed Canadian like beaver with like the maple leaf on it. And so the whole show was about my beaver. Oh my God, I got my beaver. Oh my God, I love my beaver. Oh my God, my Canadian beaver. But it was this thing, and go Canada and the pens and candy. It was awesome. And I
want to say that is Dana. Dana just it's a book, it's an art piece, it's a message, it's a teaching, it's a learning with enthusiasm and fun and deep, deep, deep wisdom, because obviously the eye is powerful. I might have to show that again, but this one too. You gave this to me. Oh, dude, it's kind of got a reflection.
Yeah, she's behind me too. I got that.
Yes, I got behind you. That's and me and my girls. Dana has 2 girls. So I know I just hogged the first couple minutes of the show, but I wanted to, in a very fun, creative, expressive way, because that is everything that's Dana, give you a showing of wow, like just Dana is wow. And now we'll move into a little more, I don't want to say serious, but we'll get into a little more grit of everything Dana does, but start with the fun and the show.
Oh my God, that was so much fun.
Okay.
So Patty, you wanted me to tell you about myself.
We just got, but by the way, for those of you listening on audio only, please get your ass over to YouTube when you have a chance, because you don't want to miss these visuals and really get a taste of Dana's genius. And now we're going to get her humor too. I love it.
Oh my God. And you know, the fact that you put my name in the same sentence with the word genius cracks me up, but I'm like, okay, all right. But I gotta, can I give you a little bit of backstory of so essentially, like many of us, who have gone through a spiritual awakening, I come from a bit of a dumpster fire, and I somewhere along the lines and much later in life, figured out how to turn it around. And because my background is in education, I was in education for about 25 years. I have that component that I'm so inspired by what life looks like when you turn it around. I take that educational component and you see the artistic component, and I kind of morph it all together to assist others in their journey. But my main message to all is the power is in your hands. And when you figure that out, holy crap, right? Yeah. I know every one of these squares I'm looking at is like, and that's what drives me. And it drives me through my art. It drives me through my shows. It drives me through the books that I author, the assistance of other people. And it's what brings me such joy,
I love it. Yeah. True fulfillment, right? Absolutely true fulfillment. And it shows 100%. In what you're doing. Yeah. Nothing beats that. Nothing beats that.
No. I love it. Did you, watched a little about your, Going Commando and that, and phenomenal. Did you always have that artistic thing too? Like, how did you come about all of this in that manner of, okay, hey, now I moved into here, I moved into here, I moved in here. Like, your story is just so freaking amazing. Like, I was just like, oh my God, yes.
Oh my God. So it's really, really cool because I was always artistic, or creative. Like I joke, I wrote in the follow-up to 10 Recommandments, I wrote a book called Decoding the Woo Woo that the show is actually named after. And I talk about how when I was a child, I used to play with frogs. I loved frogs. I had a hamster I used to make hats for, and everything was about like the animals and nature and my creativity. And then what happens, life gets hard. Right. And we wind up getting jobs that we have to, things that'll pay. Now I'm a natural educator. So like that was the obvious progression for me. But I wanted to be an artist as a kid. And then that got tabled because, starving artists, and how could you support yourself as an artist? No support. You know what I mean? I didn't have any family members going, hey, go to art school. Like, kind of raised by wolves. And that's kind of how it goes down. So, but when I was, oh my God, I'm trying to think how far back to go with the story in order to, keep it interesting. Let's just say when I met my husband, I got married in 2014. I had reconciled many imbalances that I had carried up until the point that I married him. That's why I was able to align with him and meet this awesome guy and marry this awesome guy. So now I'm in a safe and loving relationship, stable, everything is good. And now I'm able to peek into my creativity. So one afternoon, now we're in 2015, I was tutoring one Friday afternoon, and I texted my husband and I'm like, why don't we go to one of those painting with a twist classes? Where like, you drink wine and like, you paint a palm tree or a turtle or an elephant or something. So typical, my schmoopy and typical Rob fashion. He's like, no, I'm not going to go paint with a bunch of women and drink wine. He's like, stupid. He's like, but what I will, it's my husband. He's awesome. He's like, but what I will do, he's like, well, I'll take you to Michael's. I'll buy anything you want. We'll go home and we'll paint at the dining room table. So I was like, cool. So we did that. And I had young children at the time. We had a babysitter. So we go and Michael's, we do the thing. And I'm like, Robbie, I'm going to paint you an elephant. And I paint him this elephant. And he's like, holy shit, I think you're good. And I was like, I think so too. Clearly I wasn't winning any awards, but like, I definitely knew that there was promise and it felt really good to paint. So that was it. I was like 45 years old. And so 2015, pick up this paintbrush, paint this elephant. And then every night I would come home from work, I would feed the kids, put the kids to bed. Remember, they were young, and I would paint at the dining room table. And it was like feverish about it. Like I would like paint every day, and I would go to work, and I had a beautiful office at work, and I would hang them up and I would give them to people. And I was like Oprah. I was like, you get a painting and you get a painting. Like I was like nuts, right? And then finally, within 6 months, I kind of found my voice. I started painting women and children and stuff like that. And somebody said to me, if I paid you, would you paint me? I'm like, they'll pay me for this? So it evolved into, and it quickly evolved into like the art festival scene, the website, yada, yada, yada. 2 years later, I left my 6-figure career to pursue this because I could no longer do that when I knew I could do this. And then again, yada, yada, yada turned into a gallery, yada, yada, yada turned into being an author. And the more I said yes to my creativity, the more it expanded. And we sit here with Tracy's homage to Dana. That's what it looks like when you say yes to yourself, you know?
Yes, that is amazing. And I know so much about you, so I'm going to let Patty and Renee ask a couple questions. But the one thing that I'm very curious, you have a new TV show, and and it's new on the scene. So do you mind kind of leading with that? Because we could talk about, wow, so much, the publishing company, but just for my own personal interest, because I haven't talked to you about that. So I'd love to hear about the TV show.
So the TV
show, radio, right? Radio.
Well, no, it's TV. It's TV.
TV.
Yeah. It's TV. So you, as you know, Angela and I do Going Commando. That's the podcast we do together. It is our love, love, love. She and I have the most incredible chemistry, but we talk about all this content because all the books I write are about self-help, spiritual development, and personal empowerment. So we talk about the content of our books, but we do it in a very lighthearted, jovial, celebrating authenticity way. This show on Ethereal TV fell into my lap, like the opportunity fell into my lap a couple months ago, and it's like a Gaia TV. But they're just creating this platform. And it was funny. This is just like a little side note. You know how like when you say something, you want something, you set your intention with the universe, and then all of a sudden something shows up and you're like, hey, but it's really, you called that into your sphere of influence, right? So I was just saying, and I'm going to be crass for a second, just for a second. I was just saying to a friend of mine, it's so frustrating on YouTube because people fart in cups and they go viral. Like, what the hell? Like, the shit that goes viral is beyond my comprehension. And Angela and I are like spilling our guts trying to assist humanity. And it's like freaking crickets. And I'm like, I don't understand. I'm like, there's got to be a platform for people like me that have something to say. And then all of a sudden, this woman that I know, she's like, I want to interview you. There's this new platform called Ethereal TV, and I want to interview you for my show. And I was like, I want to know who's running this thing. Give me their name. I'm going to be on the show. And I contacted them and said, listen, I do this whole Decoding the Woo Woo thing, bringing spirituality, personal empowerment for people to understand. And then they're like, yeah, create some episodes. We'll get you on. So they're still figuring out the nature of the platform. Right now, it's subscription-based. But at this point, I just want to do what I love. The monetization will come because this is so deeply woven into my soul that I have to do this. You know what I mean?
I love that. And I love the Decoding the Woo Woo. I watched, the 2 episodes. Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh, you watched both of them. Yay.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I subscribed. I'm like, okay, come on, let's get notified when the next one is. But I sort of want to jump backwards for a little bit, only because we had a question. One of the, oh my God, I want to say customers is totally not. One of our community members had said, and this is bringing you backwards, had said that how do you actually incorporate this in when you have to work, she said 6 days a week, and how do you actually go into this field? And I can't remember exactly how she said it, but it was that whole thing. And I think that's what a lot of people struggle with. And you've made such a huge difference and gotten into so many things that really sort of, exactly what you said, sort of fell into, the more you said yes, the more it happened. And I wondered if you can sort of just give a little bit of when you were in the corporate world and doing this stuff, was there a particular something that you could say to give them a little, like, because we've said a lot of things like on this, and we're still, I love getting other perspectives, I guess, is the whole thing. And I think some people are stuck in, what they're referring to as stuck in the corporate world and not knowing how to really transition into this one or to incorporate into that. Can you speak to that at all?
Yeah, of course, of course. What I'm going to say requires a lot of faith, on the person who's listening to trust what I'm saying is true. We're just going to start there. So when I was working, again, I was an administrator in a private college preparatory high school. I had been, again, in education for 25 years. I'd been in this place for 16 years. I was tutoring for the SATs. I was making money hand over fist, cash. I'm just saying, so I was doing really well. I was making six figures. So was my husband at the time. When I figured out I could paint, again, 2015, and I was painting and working and really creating dissonance in my job. We all know that. We see this and we're here. It's like, and then you're hating where you are and you're in this dance. Like, I totally, totally get it. I was ready to leave that year. And my husband was like, "Oh, you can't." Blah, blah. Okay, fine. I'll stick around. And then things got really, 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 really uncomfortable. And that's why it took me to 2017 to leave. But in the time that I was there, I wasn't thinking I was going to leave. It started to get so uncomfortable. I had to look at the leaving, but I thought at the time I was going to do both. I was going to make my money. I was going to do my thing. And I was going to somehow get discovered to become this famous artist. Like, that was my belief at the time. Totally delusional, but that's what I believed. So I was still doing stuff with the painting that was making me happy. But what happens is there's a tipping point. I'm doing this. This is starting to become awesome. This is sucking so bad. And then that decision has to be made. And there's that obvious question, or that obvious, like, well, how are you going to make money? Right. So what I did, and I don't know if a lot of people have this ability to do this, but again, 2 six-figure incomes. I finally was like, I have to quit my job. And that story is for another day. It does not paint me in a pretty light. It's, I was like, here, like, it was kind of like that, you know what I mean? But, if you know Dana, you know that's how she rolls. But anyway, so I was like, I have to leave this job. And my husband was like, if you want to leave, if you truly want to pursue this life as an artist, I support you in every way. But that Mercedes you drive, you can't afford that card anymore. And this house that we live in, this beautiful renovated house that we live in by the beach, we can't afford this anymore. We would have to sell the house, move out to a more rural area, place we could afford, and you have to get rid of the fancy car. That conversation was had in the spring of 2016. I kept my job for the entire year. I left the June of 2017. I handed him the keys to the Mercedes, got a paid for Honda, and we put the house on the market. We moved by December 2016. So I had the conversation in June 2016. By December 2016, the car was sold, the house was sold, and by June 2017, I was out. So what would be my advice to people? If you really, really want to do this, you'll figure out how to make it happen. But here's the clincher. December 2016, we moved. January 2017, remember, I'm leaving my job in June 2017. January 2017, my husband gets laid off. So we went from each having six figures to me planning to leave my job to him getting laid off. And now from January to June, I call it the how badly do you want it? When we make decisions that are in our best and highest good, that are going to bring us to a higher level, something always shows up that says, no, look over here. Remember how comfortable you were over here? Like the X shows up, whatever it is, you know what I mean? And we're like, ooh, we want to go over there. But the reality is, if you have the faith in yourself, if this is truly your soul's purpose, if you are being driven in this direction, you got to have the faith and trust. So I had those 4 or 5 months, however long it was till June, again, doing math, January to June, 6 months, whatever. I had that time to stay there. I could have stayed at my job. As much as I made a bunch of noise and made them not like me and I didn't like being there, I could have stayed. I had a pretty good reputation. And I had to trust that everything would pan out. And so I left my job. So now my husband and I have zero figures. So I'm telling this part of the story so people understand it gets ugly and it gets scary. It's all of this to say, no, 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 stay where you're comfortable. But the only way you're going to achieve and align with what really is your purpose is to, I don't know, tell fear to fuck the fuck off, essentially. You got to. God, nobody, I've never said that I was fearless. I'm brave. There's a difference. You know what I mean? And you have to be willing to commit to yourself in such a way. And that comes with the work of personal empowerment. The more you do that, the more you truly understand your worthiness, the more you're willing to bet on yourself, you know? I hope that answered your question. That was a lot of words coming out of old Dana Sardano over here.
Oh no, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, because I think that, you know, and I feel like it gives a lot of our listeners and, you know, beyond a really great beginning point in the realization that things do get ugly, because I think they always, you know, look at people, you know, in this and like, oh, well, that came easy to you. And it was like, no, you know, there really were a lot of sacrifices, a lot of things that, you know, like you said, saying fuck off to fear, like we have to.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, white knuckle in, chins and all the whole thing. You don't go on a roller coaster because you're going to sit back with your hands behind. You go on a roller coaster because you want that exhilaration. But you don't know. You could be the one with the faulty screw that gets ejected. That's the fun of the ride.
Oh my God. I love how you talk. And I just want to say, because you and Angela expressed that well on it can get really ugly and freaking not fun or fair in perception, but to try and take that ride and have people around you that can be like, oh my God, this fucking sucks. And you're like, I know, are we going to make it? And of course, I know Dana well, and we have some mutual friends, and we all kind of, I know one of the common things is we always bring it back to laughter. And I'm just going to bring up Anne Marie's name here too, because Angela and Anne Marie, and it's that laughter. And obviously you can see with Dana, you throw in a story and bring it to laughter, and that is gold for me. And I think everyone is a little different, but because you just demonstrated it, right? Have community, which we are, and we're doing and building in all these different avenues. And who knows? I always say, you hear me say it a million times, it's a personal ride, it's a personal perspective. But for me, and I've started to hone in, really looking at the people that I resonate with because they have such high integrity and truth and are in my sphere of what I want to be and do and go, and the fun. And I'm talking about the in your face, say the word fuck, you know, and talk about how ugly it gets is gold for me. And I believe it's a common denominator and those around me. Does that make sense? And I just wanted to touch on, I love how you and Angela do that on air, because you talk about very important, wise things with so much humor and just off-cuff perspective. Like, let it be that. And sometimes I always say, I'm in the suck, but you can be in it, but have that person to be like, get out of the suck. Come on, right?
Yeah. 100%. I got to share with you guys, we're just rounding out, we're just finishing season 6 in Commando. But if you watch, probably from like season 2, 3, 4 even, but from the end of season 5 through season 6. So now we're talking about September, October, November of last year up through now. Angela, she announced on air in like October or November of 2023 that she was getting divorced. Now, because I know her, I could see it going there. And if you have a keen eye, you could see it in the previous episodes. But from November to now, you see Angela so far deep in the suck. You can see the loss of light. You can see it in her. And you watch through season 6. every episode, because we're learning, even just doing the show, just that alone, but our friendship, the personal work we do on ourselves individually, but that sense of community that you're talking about. I watched her put herself back together, and you can watch, and somewhere towards the end of season 6, because we do the chakras, we do it based on my book, Veda Finds Her Crown. And we talk about like, we do an episode, 2 episodes per chakra, like when the chakra's banged up, and then the follow-up is how to align it. And so by the heart chakra, she brought herself back into alignment. She met somebody that she saw promising, because the marriage was way over before the divorce. So like she had met somebody in the process of this divorce who saw her, who lifted her up, who accepted her, all those things that she wanted because she did the work. And you see her come to life. And now again, we just closed with the crown chakra, but you see this. So it's really, really cool to watch in real time, somebody doing the work and putting themselves back together. So that's just like, if you're curious, if you want to see the work in real time, go back to season 6, because your mind will be blown.
And I think that's an important message that people are going, and you said something earlier about there is I really need to write things down. Renee, you always remind me of that. I lose the thread, but I strongly believe we're in an energy right now that it's a tipping, and it's kind of like every day, every single individual on this earth plane is being asked, what are you going to choose?
Yep.
What do you trust? What are you going to choose? It's almost as if the choice, I don't want to say it's choice. You have to choose. You can't stand on the sidelines. And you spoke to that a little bit of that window of where you're going to quit your job. And what I'm noticing is it's, especially in my life, very powerful to have these conversations, and to have some of us are going to steward each other through, and then it'll flip and I'll be like, okay, I need you to steward me through, because I'm in a So, and I predict that this is going to happen more and more. So this is so important right now, both ends of it. And to watch you and Angela on screen, it's beautiful to me that she had the raw courage to do it, right, with an audience.
Yeah. Oh my God, she's a freaking warrior, that one. She's like out there, she's like, yeah, shit sucks right now, and this is what it looks like. And I'm like, good for you. Like that, talk about raw authenticity. She just has this open heart, because you get to a point, you guys know this, that you recognize, like, we're all in this together. Like there are sometimes, like, I'm a superstar. I'm like, come on, guys. And then, then there's the other times I'm like, fetal position on the floor. And Rob's like, you got to get up now. I'm like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. Well, I'm second my thing. We're that's why we're here to Ubuntu, to uplift, support each other. We're all in this together,
Yeah.
Yeah. Patty, I'm sure you've been quiet. What, you got questions? You got
I'm listening. I love listening to Dana. I'll tell you, because she reminded me, and your story is so helpful to so many, because what you were describing for me was kind of a part of my personal journey, was having my foot in Two Canoes, having that, background in the music business for years, and then going over to real estate, and then having this. For me, it was a pull. It was literally, it pulled me over to the work I'm doing now. And I think there are many people having that same decision to make, and I call it, you're having a foot in two canoes, but your heart's in one canoe, and then your fight or flight brain's in the other one.
Yeah.
And what happens when we rely on that fight or flight brain is, what happens is, what do? We fight to get it, right? What were we told? Work hard, grind, right? No pain, no gain, all that horse shit that is not heartfelt. And then what happens, you get it, and then you're defending to not lose it. And that's when you're on the fucking gerbil wheel. You're going, versus when you get into that one canoe that your heart is in. And I call it one canoe, but it's so multidimensional, and that canoe can just grow exponentially, just as you've done. And so, such an important message, because, right now we are all being called to be a conscious creator. And what does that look like? What reality do you want to create for yourself? And, your courage is like so admirable to me, and it's such an important message. And what feels like often in our brain, what feels like a massive jump, often when you follow your heart, it's this little tiptoe over to the other side. And so, thanks for Thanks for sharing that because it really does help so many people. And when you do, like I said, you go from, I always say, like, what is your why? And if when it's bigger than you as an individual, you just, man, you wake up every day and it's like, I absolutely, I don't even use the word work anymore. It's just not because the old connotation of work for me is not the same. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm fulfilled by what I'm doing. And I love that people who are willing to, sometimes we'll share a story and we think it's so small, right? And we go, okay, I'm going to share this anyway. What the fuck? Somebody will, and then you find out that it's resonating with so many other people. And
Yeah.
like for Angela to go on there and live that live, I think she's a freaking baller. And I love that because there's so many people in that situation right now saying, can I do it? And then there she is. She made it to the other side and now she's shining her light and thriving.
Yeah.
And we all have that ability. Even if you don't feel like you're a baller right now, it's inside of you. And so that's my take on what we've heard so
Yeah.
far.
Oh my goodness, I can't agree more. I can't agree more. We don't realize how powerful we are. I always knew I was powerful, but it always had a negative connotation because those who are uncomfortable with my power always try to stifle me. So I didn't understand the gifts that I carry. My impulsivity is a gift. It was just out of balance. My, aggressiveness is a gift, but it was out of balance. My drive is a gift, but it was out of balance. And I didn't realize this. And so I just started stepping into what was natural to me. And like you said, you were pulled, the path pulls you. It pulls you. When I left teaching in the traditional sense, and I was like, I'm going to be an artist, and I'm going to, I'm going to license my images, and I'm just going to sit back on a beach, and I'm going to get paid for my images. That again, a little imbalanced, right? And then I got message because we were connected. I got message that I was going to create curriculum for a new kind of education, and I was going to be a leader in education. And I'm like, I'm not going to be a teacher. No, I'm done with this. But that is who I am. That is the nature. I am an educator. There is that is my gift. There is no tiptoeing around it. But what I could do is bring it into balance and make it work for something that is in alignment with my heart, my soul, my integrity, and do it in a way that works for me. And that's what I'm doing now. So I think anybody who's listening, be aware of what your gifts are. Be aware of what you're unconsciously stifling to make others comfortable. Be aware of that. Because if you're stifling something, it's likely the best version of yourself. And when you bring that into alignment and when you nurture that, then like you said, the road will open up. It'll be like a pull. You will not be able to avoid it. I could not be doing what I'm doing. There's no way. Otherwise, I would wither away and die.
Yeah. And you're carried. When you get in an alignment, you're carried.
100%.
There's no gerbil wheel. You're a
100%.
passenger. Right. And just listening for guidance, following energy, like quite literally. It's magical. It's fun. It's fun. And I love it. And I can't wait to see how you become a fun educator because we all here agree that, the old dense version of education just sucked raw eggs.
100%.
Right. And it was so limiting because it was, how can we absolutely limit and squash all of our creativity?
Totally. And one of the books that I wrote, I happen to have it here. I don't mean to do a book plug, but it happens to be on my desk.
Please do.
But I wrote a book for children. It's hard to see with the light. It's called Veda Finds Your Crown. And what I did was, it's my illustrations. I combined like all of my gifts, right? So I'm trying to find it. Like I did my illustrations. I wrote this little book about Veda, who is the third eye chakra, who is looking for her crown, right? Crown chakra. And she meets up with her friends along the way. Her friend Pravda, who's the throat chakra, friend Amo, who's the heart chakra. And they're all misaligned and banged up. And it shows how they're banged up. And then, of course, she finds her crown and everybody lives happily ever after. But in the second part of the book, it's a workbook with journaling with open-ended questions. And I've created cards for the book, like, little cards, again, also on my desk. It's so funny. I'm like, buy now. But, like with exercises and activities with the kids, with the with the characters on them. I've created a curriculum for teachers and caretakers to bring into schools. So our children, instead of being taught to memorize information and to go through their entire career, high school, middle school, high school career, stressed out because they have to do all the things to get in the right college, everything that we've been programmed, why don't we teach them how to be aligned and well adjusted and happy and whole, so everything that is in alignment with them will just show up. So that's part of my plan. I put that on my list of things that I need to be doing.
You just reminded me, you say that you wrote that for kids.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if you remember, I had the honor of, you sent me the first couple chapters to read through. And I remember saying, shit, for kids, I love simplicity and basics.
Yep,
and
yep.
You just reminded me, I'm like, this is going to be a cartoon or a movie. So
that's right.
Right? Because even that book, it's not, I mean, I read it and I was like, this is fantastic. And I almost loved, it's almost as if I'm just putting it out there for adults too. It's so good because it's fun. It's an imaginative, it's a great book, not to plug you even, I mean, to plug you even more. Yes. Even more.
Keep plugging, girl, keep plugging.
But you just reminded me when I first read that, I was like, holy shit, this is so great because it's so simple. I loved it. And I'm putting my energy toward that. I saw it right away. And I remember saying to you, this is going to be a movie or a cartoon because your illustrations are so alive. Just even looking at the characters. So, and that's, this is a message for everyone. It doesn't have to be super complex or super multi-layered. It is, no doubt that it is. But it can be, from a child's perspective, a simplicity that I will just say, I remember reading that, and I have the book, the real thing. It's beautiful. It's so simple for everybody.
Tracy, I'll tell you something interesting. You said, it's good for adults too. On finduniquelyu.com, I'm not teaching them presently, but for a while I was teaching workshops based on all the books, based on 10 Recs, mostly for adults who want to get their life back together, Decoding the Woo Woo, based on people who are beginning a spiritual journey. And I started teaching this to adolescents. And I had a group of people that were like kind of following me from class to class. And they were like, well, what's next? And I was like, I only have a kids class. And they were like, well, we want to do that one. So I adjusted it for adults. And let me tell you, they were like, this is awesome, because it's really, like you said, clear cut and simple, and addresses really our inner children. And then I even morphed it even more to teach adults who want to teach it to children.
Oh, I love that.
So you know what I mean? So teach the teachers how to teach the children. So I really have adjusted Veda in so many ways. And this season 6 that I'm talking about on Commando, where we talk about the chakras, we constantly reference the book because that's what we're talking about. So Veda was like a little like, hey, let me see how this book writing thing goes. And she's like the gift that keeps on giving. Yeah.
I'm glad you said that about adults, Trace, because like you said, I like simplicity. And I think that's what this energy is all about. It's really getting out of the old way of doing things because it was so screwed up with all sorts of other bullshit attached to it. And it's like, no, this is very simple. Like, it's everything that we're to do is so simple and so easy that, I was going to say that same thing. Like, adults need to do that. Like, look at that book and, follow along and do this. I'm glad that, you're doing that stuff, and obviously got called and they showed you, here you go, here, we're going to, get people for you, whatever, which is what I love. And before you even brought up the book, which was, synchronicity, of course, I was going to say, and Tracy, you're really good at that, because I know a lot of people, we're always saying, write things down now. That seems to be the big thing in today's energy field. You got to write things down. We're forgetting things very easily because we're going back into that aspect of, it's not about the memory, it's about feeling from the heart. Okay. Mm-hmm. And, my aspect of that. So it's that aspect of when you were, and you might have been different, than Tracy, where Tracy's always there writing things down and they turn into books. And yeah, I know like a lot of, my clients, prior, I would say, write things down because you think you're going to remember the stuff and you're not. Like it's not going to be. And then, they come into books or, card decks or, or all those things. For your case, Dana, when you were thinking, okay, look, I'm going to write this book for this, was it things that you had been writing down to remind yourself, or was it just like, nope, this is all coming through because this is what I do, this is what I love, and it just sort of channeled? Can you speak to that at all?
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you how I wrote 10 Rex. Check out behind me. Isn't that cool?
Oh yeah.
So yeah. So when in 2021, I had just written Beta. I had a thing called Chakra Con at the gallery celebrating the shock. Oh yeah, the foods and the color was really, really cool. And so I had been working really, really hard. This was in the spring of 2021. And afterwards, I'm like, we're taking a vacation. And so my whole family went to Disney. We came back. All four of us got COVID and we dropped like flies. Yeah. So we come back, we're all sick, we're all in bed. Like the first few days of COVID, you think you're going to die. And then you're like, oh, okay, this just really sucks. And I'll just lay around and this is cool. So in that first week, in the first time I felt stillness since I opened the gallery in 2019, I started getting these profound thoughts when I was laying around in my stillness, but they were based on, because I would do intuitive guidance at the gallery and I teach workshops and stuff like that. So it was all stuff that I talk about all the time, but I was getting it in like succinct, profound ways. So in my sickness, I would grab my cell phone and I would just jot down, yeah, that's really cool. I'll probably use that for a workshop and put it down. And then I would jot another one down. And then when I felt a little bit better, I noticed I had 10 of them. And I was like, oh, and then when I was like well enough to sit at my computer, I'm like, let me just jot down like a little description for each one. And I was like, and just whatever, just to have them because I know I'm going to use this. And as I'm writing it down, I'm like, holy shit, I'm writing a book. And then it just poured out of me and I started adding my stories and it became the 10 recommendments for personal empowerment. But I didn't sit down and say, I'm going to write this book. I really, truly was like, let me just gather my thoughts. And it turned into that. And then the follow-up, Decoding the Woo Woo, turned into me. I would have these ideas and I would start just talking into my phone. So I would have it. And I have the last paragraph of Decoding the Woo Woo is so beautiful and poetic and profound. And I literally talked it into my phone when I was waiting for my husband to get out of the bathroom. It came through me. It's like, come on, Rob, I got to go to the bathroom. And it came through me. And I would transfer it to my computer and I would type it out and I would adjust it. So this one wrote itself at, no exaggeration, lightning speed. And you guys know when the vessel is clear and you're focused, that you can't stop it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my process. My process is I have no process. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. Well, one of the things that you mentioned is so key to the process for receiving information. We're talking about infinite intelligence coming in, is that stillness, is that finding that stillness. And then can you find that stillness when you're out doing everyday life too, because we can still maintain that stillness. I know Renee mentions hey, you can be in the zone doing the dishes. And so really, and we live in such a busy, noisy world right now that it's like, okay, really taking that time just to go inward and find the stillness. And it does. Yeah. We've all been guided. My guides are always saying to me, get out of your head. I'm like, but I have a good memory. They're like, stop using it. You got to stay in your heart. Write this down. And it's true. If you don't write it down or make a note of it right away, it is gone. Like Renee and I were talking about recently. It's like, oh, did I have that conversation with you? Or was it something I just thought? Did I dream that? Or did I actually? It's just, there's a lot of brain fog going on. But hey, brain fog can be bliss too.
I'm so glad you brought that up, Patty. I got to tell you. And Renee, you had brought it up a little bit too. Actually, all three of you touched on it. This idea that our memories are shot because we're in our heart space. Like I've always had a really, really good memory. And it's true. Did I tell you that? I don't remember. And I write everything down, but it didn't dawn on me. I never made that connection. It's because I live in the heart space. So thank you for making sense of that to me, because I just assumed it was senility. I mean, I just attributed it to, you know what I mean? Smoking a little too much back in the day. Like, I didn't know. But yeah, no, that makes total sense because I live here. It just comes in and out, in and out, in and out. And I'm constantly walking around with a pen or speaking it into my phone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's important for everybody, who's listening to know. we all typically have our phones with us. So when these
Yeah.
little nuggets come in, just jot them down or just speak them into your phone, into the notes or whatever it is, because exactly like you said, you didn't intend to sit and write a book, but when you put it all together, there it was. And I think that's how a lot of times we're so caught up in the noisy world and, oh my God, I've got to work this job and I'm doing this and I don't have time for this. Well, but if you're writing these little things down and then you start to put them together, exactly what you did, Dana, you're, oh my God, this is a book, or oh my God, I have an outline for a course, or oh my God, I have an outline for, whatever it is. And,
Yeah.
Tracy, I don't know how you even came about, you've been writing those things for years, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, here, let me put them into a book.
Yep.
Or, whatever, which is amazing. And, I love all your stuff. Is the access, and I know we still have a lot of time, but is the access to all of the stuff that you have, is that, like on your site or whatever? Or is it?
So if you go to ubuntufishgallery.com, it will take you to all the other places you need to
Okay.
go. Angela's in the process now of getting my ethereal TV tab up so you can find your way there.
Good.
But like the merchandise, the art, the books, all of that stuff. So that's like the hub. But if you're looking, even Commando, like you go, there's a Commando tab. It'll take you to Commando. I'd say go straight to YouTube. But if you want the link, go to Ubuntu Fish. And again, and eventually ethereal. But yeah, it's all there in that one spot.
Yeah.
Awesome,
Super.
awesome.
Yeah.
And we have that in our community section. So all guests are always in the community section. And then this will also, all this information about how to find Dana will be listed in the description of this episode too. So they've got multiple ways to find you.
Do you mind? I'm sorry, I don't want to derail, but do you mind if I just want to talk about the structure real quick of the Decoding the Woo Woo show? Because I think
absolutely.
I think it's really important. So you guys have seen the first 2 episodes. It's my understanding with the platform. I told you they're still new with the platform that you'd have to like have a subscription to see more episodes, but the first 2 are for the general public. And the first one is, again, it's sort of like the nature of our reality. I talk about, the idea that of beliefs. We all have beliefs, and whatever our experience is dictated by our beliefs. But what I think people in the woo-woo or in the spiritual community, a lot of people where they get stuck, what they overlook is everything begins with you. And I know I'm kind of broken record and we touched on this a billion different ways, but until you restructure yourself, the other stuff, it will always be beyond you. So I've recorded now 8 episodes. I have 4 that are actually on the platform and 4 that are in production. But my episodes start with, again, the nature of your reality to understanding your personal GPS, which is your emotional guidance, your physical guidance, your 5 senses and how they elevate and all of that, right? Your intuition, all of that. Then I go into what you saw. I think that was I'm saying them out of order. The first 3 commandments. I'm not a victim. I don't become entrenched in my emotions and my patterns. Then I talk about the chakra system. Then I talk about the aspects of ourselves that correspond with the chakra system in 2 episodes. Then I talk about energy and vibration. So people think energy is energy 1. That would be the first episode if you're talking about decoding the woo-woo. But it took me 6 episodes to get to energy. And I think when people get frustrated and they're really immersed in the spiritual nature of things, and we get touches of our gifts and we get excited and we want to know all about Dolores Cannon, Abraham Hicks, and all of that. But really, if you don't get yourself in order, 6 episodes of getting yourself in order before I even touched on energy, then you're never going to be grounded enough to be able to flow with the woo in the way that you could. So I just wanted to beat that to death because I think it's so important. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, it really
It's a
is.
growth. It's an inner growth that you have to go through. And it's amazing that, I mean, I don't know of too many resources that actually do take you step by step through that process. And for somebody listening, I know you see someone that is evolving and lit up and going, wait, how do I get some of that? And it truly is like, you can't sidestep that work and really like, okay, who am I? This is the self-realization process is who am I truly? Am I wearing masks, right? All of those things.
Yeah.
And really, and I love it that you use the word GPS. I I love that terminology because the GPS is your heart.
Yeah.
And when we get off course, It's okay, what am I listening to? Am I back in my head? If I'm in my head, I'm back. I'm still not. And that GPS will always bring us back. It'll
Yeah,
always bring us back. And when you,
always.
right, when you get to that trust part, then it's a knowing. Like you do go from trust to just knowing and going, oh, wait, what am I creating right now? What do I want to create right now? So I love that. What else can you tell us a little bit more about decoding the woo woo? Like give us a little sneak peek of where you're like where it's heading.
In the show.
Yeah, either. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, because you would
I know
think
you've
that I
got a
would
book
change
and
the
the show.
name. So yeah, so it would have been confusing. But yeah, so to this morning, actually, before I even met with you guys, I was inspired. I just want to sidestep just for a second. You're talking about how you could be in stillness to washing the dishes, right? When I walk in the morning now, I stopped listening to music because that quiet and that stillness out in nature is when I get my best stuff. And I really kind of went through the show in my head. And then I came home and I was inspired. I took a shower, my hair looked all right. And I'm like, let's do this. And I recorded it. But it was about alignment and manifestation. So you wanted to know like where it's going. So there was the energy and the vibration, getting all the way, understanding your chakra systems, understanding the aspects of yourself, talking about how to raise your vibration beyond sound bowls and psychedelics and crystals, like really truly digging in. I call it Find Your Pony. That's the name of the episode. Digging through the pile of shit to find the pony at the bottom. That's how you raise your vibration. So I talked about that. Today was alignment manifestation and really talked about how it's called manifestation is not magic. It ain't magic, people. We manifest everything, even the good, the bad, the ugly. It's learning how to manifest what you want. So I talked about that today and about, what alignment looks like. And then I'm going to be moving into the real woo stuff, dream interpretation, how to recognize our spiritual gifts, and then how to enhance our spiritual gifts, past lives, and what that really is, and what else? Mirroring, divine timing versus readiness, like all of our children, how to detect this stuff in our children, how to nurture our children who have gifts. So I'm really building up to the super fun stuff.
I love it.
Already, the super fun stuff you've already been doing, some of the super fun stuff.
Yeah, well, it's all fun, right?
Exactly.
I want to point out something that for me has been really cool, and I'm going to give 2 examples that are your creations. And of course, I write as well. But to have markers of how our understanding and awareness and our intelligence grows. And so I obviously have the book, the 10 Commandments, and I will reread them and get a totally different effect. And also, I love these cards, these Soul Traveler cards. And this is the one I pulled for the show. Isn't that a great? I'm like, which one do I want to be on the front? And it's Follow Your Way. But I read these and I love how they're matched with the art. And I read them different. It's almost every time. It is rarely that I will read. And I'm gonna say for me, I love like road maps and markers of, oh my gosh, I've never understood it that way. And how cool is that? Because we are all growing and we all have our outlets of how we grow and how we see life. But stuff like this has been so phenomenal for me to, as I said, the same words, the same images are morphing and metamorphosizing and expanding. And in theory, someone could say it's the same exact words. And I'm like, yeah, no, they're not. And that to me is so cool. And I love to have still, because the quantum is an amazing place to play, but I still have such a love and appreciation for tangible, real things to engage with.
100%. Tracy, I just have to tell you, the cards you're holding are the first edition. I've created a second edition. Aren't these gorgeous? I haven't ordered them yet where they're in my possession. It's like you could like go to a company. It's on my website. You could go to a company and find them yourself, but they're beautiful. But in every episode of Decoding the Woo Woo, I pull a card that is relevant to the subject matter. And every single time, exactly what you're saying, it means something different to me. There was one called Relinquish to Trust. And it's the idea about how you got to have faith and you got to let go. I have read these cards, guys, a billion times. I made them with Anne Marie. We edited them together. We re-edited them. I did a second edition, edited those. And every time I pick one up, like you said, Tracy, I'm like, oh. Oh, relinquish to trust. Right. And I made the friggin' thing.
And then it's like, yeah, no, you're going to get it the next time. Maybe the next time, right?
Yeah. It's so cool. And the same thing with 10 Racks. You're right. Like I wrote this stuff and I did audiobooks. I've created an audiobook for both 10 Racks and Decoding the Woo Woo. And when I had to read it again, you know how many times I've read this book from cover to cover, and I had to read it again, and I would read it and be like, oh, I wrote it, I lived it, and still seeing another layer. So, the beautiful thing about, awareness or enlightenment is the more you know, you realize how much you don't know, and it humbles you. So I'm acting as the teacher and I'm presenting all this information, but I laugh how much I don't know. It's comical. But when we realize that, it helps us be receptive to the learning. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as we grow too, as we grow and expand and raise our vibration, that is what gives you a new perspective. So the written word, you can go back. I know I feel this way. Like I love Eckhart Tolle, such a master at keeping you present. And I know I've gone back and read those books so many different times, and it keeps having a new meaning. And I think that's the power in that, in what you're doing and what Tracy's doing, writing and sharing these words, because you go back to it a year later and it doesn't seem possible. You're like, hey, wait, this is the exact same set of words, but it's, again, words are energy put into form. And so it's like, wow, now we're reading the energy differently. And it's so cool. And now, are you willing to share one of those cards? Because I would love to hear one. And because we have many listeners, we don't share a lot of channeled information too much. So, if you would indulge us in one of your magic cards.
You know what? I was just going through one. Which one do I want to read? How about we do this?
Ooh.
Tell me.
Oh, God, look at the art. Oh,
aren't they gorgeous?
Gosh. Ooh, I like that alien looking thing.
Oh my God. So this is interesting. This is Andara. So I painted Andara, and this is a channeled painting. When I painted her, all of my women, none of them, they're all just normal looking, different color hair. She's got an amethyst between her eyes. She's got selenite in her eyelashes. She's cut. She's this one, when I painted, I was like, who the hell is that? I think that's me. Like, I think that's me somewhere, Okay. So the message is a channel, which is kind of appropriate for the conversation. You are all channels. Every individual is a recipient of higher communication. It is only a matter of acknowledgement. For if you can step outside the constraints of your mind, you will realize you have been spoken to and guided your entire life. You receive information in some fashion and transmit it in your way. As you progress to an understanding of who you are, you will use it in a way compatible with your gifts.
Love
Appropriate.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So cool. These cards are gorgeous too.
Yeah. So the ones that Tracy has are available on my website. These, because now that I have the new shiny ones, I'm like, oh, I like these. But if you go to the footer and it says, to get more merchandise, go to, it's in green. If you went to the footer, you could click and find these. But the ones that Tracy has, there's 63 cards in that deck. These, I shaved them down a little. There's only 50 something. So you decide. New, pretty, and less, or old and reliable and more. It's up to you.
Either way, they're going to give you awesome messages. And again, I'm going to say to everybody listening, and now that you've got to head over to YouTube and see this, just to see the art, not only behind Dana that she's done, but these cards and the book covers and everything. You've got to get the visuals and to feel the energy from all of that. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. When Tracy was holding up ones in the beginning, even you could feel not only this beautiful, I'm going to say other dimensional energy that's coming through, but you can feel there's a language in them. And I'm sure you know that, Dana. There's this language that's coming in that is just, going right into people's energy field and opening things up by just looking at these. And everything chills even saying that. So Oh my God, thank you so much for everything that you do. You're so fucking amazing. It's so
Oh my
cool.
God, I appreciate you guys seeing me. Like, thank you. Like, sometimes we feel like, again, we're doing our thing. We're doing it from our souls and from our hearts. But like, it would be nice to be seen. You know what I mean? And it feels like crickets. I told you, the guy farting in a cup is going viral. And so to connect with, guys,
Yeah.
I see things. I'm like,
Yeah.
why is this on my phone? Why is this in my eyes? Why am I looking at this? And but the fact that to meet other people, I mean, Tracy, you and I know each other for so long. I remember when we met, and like they were like, yay!
Yeah.
but to meet people that are in alignment is nice and refreshing. So thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for being here. And no, isn't it nice to know that you don't have to fart in a cup to be a guide?
And don't think I haven't thought about it. And I'm not saying that I haven't done it off camera, but I'm like